Well, welcome to Move the Stairs, episode 75. Wow, 75. Yeah. We're recording on Friday, January 27th, 2023, and we're happy you're joining us for today's exciting conversation. Today, we're thrilled to be joined by Narek Serracani. He is the CEO and the co-founder of Colorado Botanicals, and he'll be talking about how they're employing brand protection PR strategies.
You know, Mitch, we're going to talk with Narek about the importance of reviews in building customer loyalty. They have close to 200 reviews on Trustpilot, so that's pretty good.
That's awesome. We're also going to talk about how messaging Forbes, yes, Forbes on LinkedIn was the first step in building a relationship in our Insider Media Relations segment today.
Boy, LinkedIn, that's a familiar name that we've heard a number of guests talk about on this podcast of ours. But lastly, we'll talk about how taking advantage of opportunities when somebody calls for an interview and then posting that interview to, guess where, LinkedIn is a part of a strategy that increases thought leadership and is a great part and portion of building brand resiliency for your CBD brand.
So let's get started. Narek, I think you're going to be there in just a second. There you are. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. We're so glad to see you. Oh, we're glad to see you. Thanks so much for joining the Move the Stairs podcast today. So I'd love to learn more about you and your grandmother. I understand your grandmother was part of the inspiration in starting Colorado Botanicals.
Yeah. So during college, when I started college, I got into like the entrepreneurial side. I was doing business before. I was going to be going. I wanted to do like medical school. I liked that field. I was very into like health and being healthy. But I realized that's not what I want to do. So I decided to do business, but I didn't know what like I was going to do in the future. And it made me nervous thinking about the future. So I got going, trying to figure something out. So since my freshman year of college, I started selling stuff online. I did other stuff too, like traded stocks, but always focused on selling stuff online. And on the side, I was always like very healthy, health conscious. And then my senior year of college, my second semester, that my grandma was like diagnosed with cancer, and my mom came and told me how she met someone at the hospital that told her about like CBD, and then my first reaction was I was very surprised because my parents are like anti-smoking, like marijuana. I'm like, okay, like that's interesting, and I wrote an essay in college about CBD actually. So it's crazy how it ended up in this like industry. And I did a lot of research, and it was like the industry was like new at that time. So like there wasn't like lab reports. It wasn't the way it was like nowadays. So it was hard to like buy CBD online. The websites weren't that informative. And I really got into it like after learning about the benefits, what it can do. So I continued to like look into it more. And then I'm like, what if like I get into it, like learn about it, maybe like I can do it myself. And yeah, it just started from that. And then my business partner came in and we continued doing it and started the company. And 5 years later, we're here now.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, that's my story.
Yeah,
I was going to say, it's a fascinating story, and it's awesome that you have that origin story to go back to, especially with family. It's so powerful, weaving that into, who you are as a company and as a brand. And we know that customers respond to that, right? And it's a big challenge for CBD companies in trying to establish a loyal customer base. So I think it's awesome that you have that to really tell people.
I am, definitely. And I forgot to mention, thankfully, my grandma is doing well even today.
Yay!
I totally forgot to mention that. But yeah, thankfully, everything is fine. It was something minor and ended up, getting into this industry because of that. But most importantly, obviously, I'm very happy she's doing well.
Yeah. Very personal for you, certainly.
Yeah.
Well, Narek, one of the tactics it seems you focus on is building your reviews. So tell us, why did you choose that particular tactic?
Well, reviews play like a crucial role in like a business's success. And it's something that I'm going to get into like in the conversation. I'm sure it's going to come up, but it's something that we mention to customers when we ask them for reviews, like how important reviews are for our business's success. And reviews, like you can have not an amazing website, maybe you should have good pictures, but if you have good reviews, good testimonials from customers, and people see that, they're much more comfortable in purchasing your product and trying it and trusting you. And reviews is something that every company should be focused on. And yeah, it makes a huge difference for sure.
Absolutely. So what do you think are the opportunities? And also, whenever you have opportunities, you always have the other side of the coin, the challenges. What are the opportunities and challenges when you focus on reviews as a company?
Well, obviously the opportunities are getting a lot of like positive feedback, but that comes first. You want to have like a good brand, good product that actually works, that you believe in, and then like if you have those things in place, you're going to get good reviews, and you're going to be able to showcase that on your product pages. And so other customers that never purchased or don't even know anything about your company can see like people saying, oh wow, like it helped me with this, the shipping was fast, like customer service, they're very knowledgeable, and these things play a huge role in conversion. And obviously the disadvantages or disadvantage about it is that like negative reviews can come every once in a while, but that's just part of it. Not every single person is going to be satisfied with the product. Out of 1,000 people, there will be a few that are not happy, but it's not something a company should be worried about if they have like a good product and they have good customer service, which people care about a lot. And if you have those things in place, you should not worry about it at all. You can always find ways to like make it up, take care of your customer after, especially if they're not satisfied, because your customers are your most important people. They're the people that keep you in business and will continue to keep you in business. So like we like make sure that we take care of our customers in every way. Yeah.
I think that's the scariest part there is, putting yourself out there for reviews is what if you do get a negative review? So I think it's great that you're able to shed some light on that. Do you have any other inside tips for business owners on building a good, robust review strategy similar to yours so they can help generate customer loyalty?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, I would like highly recommend that they get on one of these softwares. For example, like Yopto, Trustpilot. There's Reviews.io. There's a lot of them. But I think, from my knowledge, those are like the top three ones. There's probably other ones, but those three are very good. And these softwares have everything in place. A beautifully like designed plugin, like a design that goes on every product page, that has features that you can easily add. Like you can ask the customer to fill in like check mark, like what it helped them with, so other customers can see what it helped them with or like why they were buying it. And most importantly, it's the review strategy that it makes it so easy. For example, after they purchase, you could set after a certain number of days to send out an email to them, and also to reminders. Obviously, with reminders, you don't want to spam them, because they're not going to be happy. Customers don't like being spammed with emails constantly, especially asking for a review that is benefiting the company and not the customer at the end of the day, because they have to go out of their day. And another part of it is definitely the tone, the way that you message, the email, and the standard, like the templates that they have. It works. But what we did is like we thank them for their purchase. Obviously, we tell them how appreciative we are. And one of the other things we say is like we say like it would mean so much to us if you take a few minutes out of your precious time to leave a review. You have no idea how much of a difference it'll make. And when a customer sees that type of messaging in an email, they'll be like, wow, like these people are nice people. They're saying it in such a nice way. Like, the product helped me. I'll go out of my way to leave a review. So those are the tactics that we've done that's helped a lot.
I think that's so important. I'm sorry, Jordan, go ahead.
I was going to ask, I had a quick follow-up. Does the software have its own CRM attached to it, or do you have to integrate that with your existing CRM?
You have to integrate it with your website, and it obviously gathers all the orders that come in. And based off the email, like it sends out an email to the customer, but you have to activate the email system.
That's really important. And that was a great follow-up. I just thought the fact that you said that you have to really honor your customers and let them know how important it is, how their time is as important as your time is really good. So, Narek, you know, at MNC Communications, we're all former journalists. We talked about that before we started the podcast. And we use a term called insider media relations to describe how we use our experience to help prepare clients to take advantage of every media opportunity that comes their way, but really positioning them as industry leaders and experts who can give a great review. So when we talked yesterday, I got to tell you, I was so impressed when you told me that you got your relationship going with Forbes as part of messaging on LinkedIn. Most business owners I've met would be very intimidated by either picking up the phone or messaging on social media. I want to know what gave you the courage to, first look up the people, and then what did you say to them when you messaged them that you got a response?
One of them was, I was first of all very confident in our company and the products. I would feel uncomfortable a little bit if I didn't believe in it. So that was the first thing. And the second thing is you just have to do it. That's the only way. If you don't do it, nothing's going to happen. I just happened to start reaching out to people, and it ended up working out. And I learned a lot through the way that I've used in other ways of reaching out to people. And if there's anything more that you want to know, that was a very general answer to that. I'm happy to go into it.
No, that's fun. As Diane mentioned, that was pretty brave. I mean, a lot of people go, oh, I don't know about this, but without it, you wouldn't have had that success.
Of course.
How did you prepare yourself? Did you go through what you were going to say before you dialed up Forbes?
100%. So before I even thought about what I'm going to say, first of all, you have to start writing it out. And then after you write out, it's a little bit extra stuff. And you don't want to say too little where you don't provide them information, but you don't want to say a lot because you're taking their time to read. And they get so many messages, people calling and wanting for favors or wanting them to publish stories about them. So the first thing is obviously I write it out and I think about how it can benefit them and how it can benefit their viewers, because at the end of the day, they want stories that their readers are going to benefit from. If it doesn't, they're not interested in writing about you. And then after I say a little bit about our company, what makes us different. We have a company that beautifully designed with so much information about us, and that goes into detail about what makes us different, educating the reader on the industry a little bit and what we're aware of. And so I attached that, and it started into a long message that got cut down by a lot. I also asked my business partner of what he thinks about it, so I could get a different point of view just in case, because it's very important. You pretty much have one shot, and you could continue messaging them, but the first message that you send them is going to set the tone. So you want to be careful, and it's okay to ask other people for what they think. And I'm not a PR person like you guys that understand it very well. So I have to be careful with the steps that I take. So I from the start, I build a good relationship and come off in a good way.
That's great.
That's the way that I did it.
Nice.
Definitely important to be very cautious, and I think it's a great point. Don't want to say too much, but don't want to say too little. Just right. So now that you have that relationship, do you still exchange messages with this Forbes contributor? How do you work to keep that relationship alive, and how important is that for your business?
Well, first off, I don't reach out to her often, but I have twice since they featured us. And the reason why I don't want to reach out to her often, unless it's something important, and which I'll explain what I asked, because you're taking the time out of their day to answer you, and you don't want to be too much where you're we don't really want to, there's other companies that are more genuinely better that we could promote and talk about. So one of the ways I asked that I followed up, that also keeps it reminds them in their head, hey, oh, there's this person, such a good person. I'm gonna they could be thinking of a story months later after they wrote about you, and when you message them something nice, then you're like, wow, I have this story coming up. It would be good to like add them into it. So like I reached out and I asked something like simple about like they pretty much do have a rating system, and I asked like in a very nice way, short, like, hey, I noticed like this is our rating. I obviously saw it months ago. But I was just wondering, like, what can we do as a company to improve it? Like hearing your feedback would mean a lot because like we want to get better as a company in every way possible. And then like that's a type of message that you could send to like someone like from Forbes or any big media company, and they'll see that you genuinely care, and not only about the company but your like customers and the way you do things, and that's what they want. They're representing you. Like at the end of the day, they don't want to be associated with a bad company that will give them a bad name. And if you're a good company and you would make them look better, that's like what they're looking for. At the end of the day, they want to know how you can help them. You can't just go expect them to help you. So that's the like thought process that I've had throughout this process.
Yeah, it's more like a partnership.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, absolutely. Well, CBD business owners they're always on the lookout for ways to strengthen their business, build their reputation, make it resilient. So we help clients here at M&C find the opportunity in every challenge, try to kind of polish up those reputations, prepare for the unexpected, because those things happen. And so that's why we call this building a resilient CBD brand. So to that point, I can see a lot of businesses when they go to do interviews, they think, oh boy, that's not my forte. How important do you think it is to say yes to those interviews? And do you think that helps build your company as a thought leader?
Yeah, it's definitely important to like say yes to interviews. Obviously, it can be nerve-wracking at the beginning when like you've never done it really, but it's a really good way for like your customers or other like business leaders in the industry to see the type of people that are actually running the company. Because when they go on your company website, they just see stuff about your company. They might see obviously your about us and pictures of who's like the CEO or the employees, but they'll never actually get to know like how the person is. Like, does he genuinely care about what he's doing? What type of person is he? Is he knowledgeable about like what he's doing? And if you come like if you know a lot about your industry and you're smart, people will trust you and your products or your service. And that's what people want. They want to buy from people that know what they're doing. So yeah, it's extremely important, and it's something I'm definitely gonna be doing in the future. Like if any interviews come, I'm gonna make sure like I do it. It's a great way for people to get to know like who's running the company and the type of people they are.
Well, Narek, you have some great tips which you already gave us, which is great, and I think you should continue to do interviews because you're very humble, and I love the whole way you're looking at everything is how can I get what I want, but I'm going to help the other person at the same time. So I'm interested on how you'll use this podcast interview to promote Colorado Botanicals and build your reputation.
Well, definitely LinkedIn. This is a lot more of like giving tips to other people who have businesses that they'll definitely benefit. And I'm 100% going to be watching your other videos because I think I can learn a lot from it. So I'm going to be promoting for sure through LinkedIn. I think it would be a good way to also share it with your customers too. So they see, get to know who is the person or the people like making this company that I'm buying from and get to know them. Just like the previous questions, people want to get to know like people. It would make them like, if they're genuinely good, they're smart, they're going to trust them more. And yeah, there's a lot of LinkedIn and to customers, but definitely LinkedIn is a great way. It's an underrated tool that so many people take for granted. And it's seriously very powerful. And LinkedIn will definitely be one way that I would promote interviews, especially this one.
Awesome. Well, one question we always ask, and we always kind of save the best for last for our guests, is what are some of the challenges and opportunities that you're looking at in the CBD market, especially in the next 3 to 6 months, and how are you preparing for it?
Okay. Great question. Obviously, the challenge is in the CBD industry is the stance the FDA will take. Obviously, it's still a gray area. There is a movement in it. But the FDA actually released a press release yesterday giving an update on like what's going on and that they're interested in going after pursuing to see what CBD is like, how much should people take, how long can they take it before it becomes bad, how it interacts with medications and other ways. Although I'm very optimistic, and many other people in the industry are optimistic and confident that it will be great. There's always like a little bit of a worry something might come in the way that will be bad. But through this, there's many studies and so many customers that have said so many great things, and obviously the studies that actually show that CBD is helpful. So I'm very confident in that. But it'll also open up opportunities where they'll put proper like regulations, like lab testing, and like making sure companies show like information about like what's actually inside their products and the hemp extracts, and not just like the finished products that's diluted with other ingredients. And if there's like pesticides in it, if it's diluted and they test the finished product, it's not going to come up because it dilutes the amount in there. And another opportunity, even though I kind of mentioned the opportunity, but the biggest opportunity is, Google just opened up, like they made it easier to market CBD. Obviously, there's still restrictions on it, but it's really good news. And Facebook, about like 2-3 months ago, they became more lenient on their restrictions with CBD ads. So it's moving in the right direction. But I'm happy that they're taking slow steps, because it'll make sure like the bad products or bad companies like that don't have great products, which most companies have great products. That like the bad ones, the very few ones that it doesn't get in the hands of like consumers where they'll have a bad reaction to it and it gives a bad name to CBD. So those are the challenges and opportunities that I see in the coming months.
That's a great review, and I think that's a great way to look forward too, because when you prepare, you're not a deer in the headlights when it comes down. You've already got a plan, and we really believe in that. So, Narek, this is just a great interview. Thank you so much. This is Narek Sarokani from Colorado Botanicals, and I just want to thank you so much for joining us on the Move the Stairs podcast.
Thank you so much for having me on. It was fun. Definitely looking forward to like doing more interviews. It made me more comfortable. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I just loved how with every question he was thinking about the person he was trying to message, whether it was with customer loyalty, when you're asking for those reviews, that you ask it in such a way that you really honor the fact that people have a lot of things on their plate and that you appreciate that they're taking the time to do a review. I love that answer.
Yeah, it was interesting. He both said he was mindful of other people's time.
Yep.
He's excited about his product. He has a good product, a good company, but not only with the consumer, being very polite and asking for their review, but also when he was talking to Forbes, he made sure he had his message down. So when he chatted with them, he's trying to build that, those media relations that he presented it as a partnership and kept it, lean and mean. So because he knows they're busy and they're like, who is this on the other end of the phone? But I also like he's very brave about doing that. A lot of people might not have done that, right. And very optimistic too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then finally, I think one of the biggest things that stuck out to me is when you're looking at opportunities in CBD, it's always kind of being in the know and knowing that you had that marketing change from both Facebook and Google recently, being able to reference the FDA letter that went out yesterday, the press release about working with Congress on regulations. If you're not in the know, especially in an industry like this, you're going to be left behind. So there's a great opportunity, even in the challenges that some of those things like FDA gray areas represent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, our special guest for joining us of Colorado Botanicals. Narek Sarokani for being a part of Move the Stairs episode 75. We're really excited to have produced 75 episodes of Move the Stairs podcast. And looking forward to your feedback. If you can leave us a review on Apple or Google, that'd be fantastic. And of course, in the next 2 weeks, we'll have our next all new episode of the Move Upstairs podcast.